there, friends and sane persons, and welcome to another episode of Wednesday Whimsy. My name is Kyle, and Wednesday Whimsy is a short show that I do every Wednesday evening where I talk about a board game, a top 10 list, or some other board game, usually related topic, that happens to be on my mind at the time. Well, it is Wednesday when this is going up, but it's actually Tuesday night here in Atlanta because tomorrow I am getting on a plane to go to Japan. And I'm really excited to go. I'm going to be going to the Tokyo Game Market and just kind of seeing things that happen to be in the Tokyo area. And it'll be a great trip, a long trip, a lot of flying, and but I'm really excited to go. And, you know, sometimes there's a game that's perfectly themed around what I'm doing, and that's the one I'm talking about today. Let's go to Japan. Now, the punctuation on this game is a little weird because Let's Go is has the punctuation and then To Japan's kind of there without any. But regardless, Let's Go to Japan is a game. It came out 6 months ago or so, and I played it and I enjoyed it. And but I never really talked about it because I guess I was saving it for a special occasion. So what is the game about? Well, very simply, you have a week in Japan and you are trying to plan your activities while you're there so that you can see as much as possible. You can visit things in Tokyo or in Kyoto, and you can go back and forth as much as you like, but if you do it too much, it might be fatiguing and you might lose some points, or you might have to take a cheap, awful train that you don't want to take instead of the nice luxury one. But ultimately, you're trying to plan your week. You're trying to get things that will score and make combinations that will work well together. And then at the end of the week, you're going to add up all of your points and see who has the best trip to Japan planned. I guess that person gets to go on one. So how does the game work? Well, at its heart, this is a card drafting game. And the drafting's a little wonky, actually. But basically, you have a hand of these cards, and you're going to, normally at the beginning of the game, you're going to play one card and pass one card to a neighbor. And then later in the game, and then at some points, you're going to pick up the cards that were passed to you. And then you're going to start playing sets of 2 cards. But ultimately, every day from Monday through Friday, you are going, the weekends, Saturday. There's a Saturday in the game, excuse me. I guess Sunday we don't have in Japan. Yeah, but so from Monday through Saturday, you're going to be planning 3 activities. And here's an example on the screen. I hope it's available. Yep, here's an example of an activity card. You can go to the Kyozomezudra Temple. There you go, really good. This little cat up here, this lucky cat, is worth a point. These are the symbols the card gives you. And then if the card happens to be on top of the 3 at the end of the day, when you're doing the scoring, these are the bonuses you can get. So if you have before it at least 2 of the shopping and at least 2 of the food tags, then you're going to be able to get 2 points for every set of, I guess, these temples and blossoms of those tags that you have out and available to score. So you're going to be trying to make a combination that will get you, that will sort of benefit you, and you'll get a lot of points from making certain combos together. You'll also see this is a Kyoto card. There are also Tokyo cards. This one, for example, is in Tokyo, and then there are some yellow ones you can kind of see in the background here that can be used in either one. And ultimately, the goal would be that you ideally have all your Tokyo activities grouped together and all your Kyoto activities grouped together so that you don't have to keep going back and forth. Although you can go back and forth as much as you want. It's just it costs you 1 train every time you do it. So at the end of the game, you're going to lose 2 points for every train you use that is a bad train. Those are the ones you didn't supply yourself. And you're going to gain 2 points for every luxury train you have. So ultimately, you're kind of balancing these different competing priorities as you plan your trip to Japan. Now, it's a pretty short game. I forget how many rounds it is. I think it's 12. It's hard to know because you're sometimes playing one card, sometimes playing two, but it all works out. There's a nice little chart to follow, and you kind of think, am I going to have enough cards? But ultimately, you do. So that's a good thing. So let's talk a little bit about what's special about this game. So it's an interesting theme, right? It's as far as I know the only game about planning a trip to Japan. Maybe there's one of the 10 Days series or something, but there are games in Japan. There's a Ticket to Ride in Japan, but this is the only game I know about sort of sitting down and doing some travel planning. Something that I probably should have done more of as I'm getting ready to get on a trip and go. I might be doing a lot of playing by ear. I plan to take this game with me so I can play it in Tokyo because I think that'd be a fun place to play it, but ultimately, it's a unique theme that really just doesn't show up anywhere else. The rules in the game are also really simple. It's just play a card. There's not costs to play the cards. There are certain symbols you can get, and there's this little satisfaction marker. You're moving back and forth, and you're trying to max it out at certain points so that you can get extra bonuses. But on its face, it's just, choose one of your cards and play it and try and get symbols in the right grouping. Something I didn't mention is each day has a featured activity. And if you, for example, on Monday's all about shopping. And if you play, a bunch of cards that match the shopping, you'll get a better bonus. Whereas if you don't, then you won't get quite as good of a bonus when you've closed out the day. But other than that, there's not really anything in here that's difficult. So, and it's a pretty fun game. I like it. I think it has a nice almost a filler feel about it. It's not long. It's not hard. It's never going to be anyone's favorite game, but it's one that I think a lot of people are going to enjoy. So, where's the but? A couple of buts here. The first one is, while I think the theme is delightful, and, you look at these cards and they have a whole lot of information on them. I guess I should have said that was under a special, is that, the cards are amazing. I think they're all unique, or at least mostly. And so, you're going to learn a lot of things about what you can do and see in Japan, which is fantastic. The problem, though, is that when you play the card, you don't really look at, okay, this card says Tokyo Tower. You may not... You won't end up looking at that. You won't read the flavor text, really. You're going to look at this symbol up here and think, okay, I don't want that. But then you'll look at, okay, well, down here, there are all the, if I put this sort of toward the end, and I have a whole bunch of these yellows and these greens, I'm going to get a huge pile of points. So, maybe that's what I want to do. And I find that although the theme is delightful, it's not particularly strong. I mean, it kind of is in that, you're planning your trip, but I don't find that as I'm looking at the cards, I really pay much attention to them. It's more after the fact if I want to go back and think about the things that I did as I remember my trip. That's another game, a Japanese game. And so I find that the theme gets lost in the gameplay mechanisms. The card iconography is clean and clear. There are no questions about it, but the whole point of it is these, things to do in Japan, and I find that they kind of get lost in the shuffle, if you'll pardon the pun. And then the other thing, the other but is scoring in this game is a little bit of a chore. Not only do you score... I mean, every time you move, you play a symbol, you're going to move a little tracker up, and then you want to get them in sets of, I think it was 4, and it's very easy to forget to do that. Honestly, it's easy to overlook something or to forget, okay, did I move that up or not? Maybe you move something up twice accidentally. I find that the scoring of the game is definitely my least favorite part. And then also you're going to go through and, okay, look, did I trigger this? There's 3 pinks here, and here's an orange, and here's an orange, and okay, I got that one, and so now I go through and count my greens and my blues, and I divide by 4, whatever it happens to be. I find that the scoring is kind of painful, and it actually takes a little longer. It might even take longer to score than it does to play. I almost wish there were an app that would just do it for you. So, the theme, while great and while unique, is not as strong in the game as it could be, and the scoring's kind of a drag. But that's really it. There's not, a whole lot negative I can say about it. So where do I come out on this game? Well, let's go to Japan. Like I said, it's never going to be my favorite game, but it's certainly a game I enjoy. So I think I would rate it a high 7 out of 10. Now, it's definitely going with me on my trip to Tokyo because where could I better play that game than when I'm planning a trip to Japan and actually there? So, I think it definitely has a place if you're interested in Japan or tourism in general. I think it's a great game. It'll work well for families. It's not hard. It's easy. It's short, other than the scoring. And I think a lot of people will like it. I just don't think that it's deep or thematic enough for me to give it a higher score. So I'm going to give it a high 7, a 7 plus, as it were. If I did half points, it'd be a 7.5 probably. But there you go. I think it's a good game. I think you'll enjoy it. I wish there were an online version that did the scoring for me. But it's definitely one that I look forward to trying next week later this week while I'm in Japan. And I think you'll have a good time with it if you try it, regardless of whether you're going to Japan or not. And that's gonna be it for me this week. I'm gonna be gone for a little while. I'll pre-record my episode for next week too. It's also going to be about something, I guess, Japanese related, because that's where I'm going to be, so it's what's on my mind. But other than that, I'm going to end things here, and I'm going to see you on the other side, where we'll talk a little bit more about some things I saw, games I played in the Tokyo Games Market, and my experience there. I'm very excited to talk about that. But for now, I'm going to wish you and me safe travels and courage when you need it. And I will see you again next time for another episode of Wednesday Whimsy. Bye-bye.